I think we'll use a couple of blocks if you have them. And now if you don't have them, you'll want something else like pillows or just something else that you'll be able to rest your head and an arm on, so extra stuff. And then we're going to use, ideally, I would have yoga bolsters for all of you. You would all have your own yoga bolster. And I don't even have my own today. I left it at home. I guess I took it home to wash it. So what I'm going to use as my yoga bolster is I've taken a pillow that's firm. So the firmer the pillow, the better. This one's not super firm. So I'm wrapping it in, you could use a towel or a blanket just to make it thicker and more solid. All right, so I've got that. And then I'm gonna have another blanket as well. All right, so I've got like some blocks or pillows, that's what you'll need, some sort of thing to make it into a bolster, of course your chair, and I think that'll do it, okay? And we'll get started. If you're gathering your things, you can just join us when you're ready. I'm gonna start on my back and with some head and neck support if you want it, okay? That's optional, of course. You can come down into constructive rest pose, which is knees bent, if that feels okay to you. And feel yourself on the floor here. You might take a big inhale, wide inhale, and a sigh. And again, another wide inhale. And a sigh, or you could also blow out through pursed lips. And noticing how it feels as you do this. How it feels in your nervous system. How it feels in your physical body, your muscles and where you're making contact with the floor, or any other noticings you have in your body. And also noticing how you feel mentally today. Good. And now let's take the knees apart from one another and widen the feet about hips distance apart, or I'm sorry, wider than hips distance apart. So I've got them as wide as my mat. You can spread out your arms and just gently rock the knees and the hips side to side in windshield wipers. And taking inventory here, noticing where you feel this. Now beginning with your feet and going all the way up to your low back and hips. And I'm letting my breath flow. So I just mean I'm keeping breathing, right? I'm trying not to hold my breath. If you notice that you are holding your breath, and try to let it go. Good, and now try adding in your head. So you can rock your head. It can look toward your knees, the same direction or the opposite direction. Good, and now let's roll over onto one side. And so to do that, let's get a few props. So I'm gonna get a big prop below my head. You don't have to, but it just feels better on my neck. So I'm gonna fold up my blanket a little bit more. And then I'm going to either stack my knees like this, okay? Or I'm going to put my top knee on a pillow or a block. My shoulders are stacked. And then my arms will reach out on the floor. So the bottom arm is palm up. I'm going to put the top arm on top of it. I'm going to try to keep the arm straight as I begin to rock the top arm or slide it forward onto the floor. And my nose kind of rocks down toward the floor. And then I'm going to rock the top arm or slide it back without taking my knee off the block. And as I do that, you'll see my head turn so I look up toward the ceiling. So I did that super slow, but you can do this more quickly. And you're not trying to force your head to turn up toward the ceiling. You're just noticing how far back does the upper back want to rock without bending that top arm. And how does this feel on your shoulders? And anywhere on your spine. Good. Now, the next time that you slide forward on the floor, see how it feels to keep reaching forward and then to open that top arm like a book. And you can take it all the way over to the opposite side, as much as feels okay on your shoulders, back, and spine, and then close the book back up. And then again, slide the hand forward on the floor, and then open up. You can look with your eyes if you want to, too, letting the head turn, and you're just continuing. Now, if you've got any pain anywhere in this trajectory, just modify the movement for how it works for you. So feel free to explore or do it differently. Good. Okay. Next time you close your book, can slowly come onto your back with your knees bent and just pause for a moment, noticing the two sides of your body, following your breath in and following it out. Good. And now let's roll over onto the other side, or you can also spin yourself around. That's what I'm going to do so I can still see you. Okay, so you're just getting onto your other side. Again, the knees could stack in front, or you could put the top knee on a prop, extending the bottom leg. Make sure you've got enough neck support. Arms stretch out in front so shoulders are stacked. And take your time. And then whenever you're ready, you can try sliding that top arm forward, reaching it as far on the floor as feels okay. And then we're just rocking the upper back back. So the top arm just slides a little bit back on that bottom arm, and repeat. And notice how the head and neck kind of move with you. So this is working on your thoracic mobility, so that upper spine mobility or the upper back mobility. As you rock back, you're trying to keep that top knee where it is. And this can affect your upper back mobility, can affect how you feel in your back, your upper back, your shoulders, and your neck. The next time you slide forward, you can try the opening like a book. You can let the head open. If you've got stuff in your way like me, I'm just moving around it and under it, and then coming back. Slide forward. And open. And then the next time you close your book, you can roll onto your back with your knees bent, constructive rest pose. And again, just notice how your upper back feels, how your shoulder blades feel on the floor, following your breath in and out. All right, now I'm going to just grab my bolster that I've made, and I'm going to take this. So I've got this, it's basically, the idea is that it's somewhat firm and rolled up. And what I'm going to do is put it on my mat. I think I'm going to turn this way so that I can sit in front of it. And then it's right up against my low back, and I can lie back. Now, say that you're really tall and long through your torso. You may need, if your thing isn't long enough that you've got, you might need something else behind your head. Mine's not quite long enough, so I'm just kind of adding another blanket and a block to the end. Okay, there we go. You want to make sure your low back feels okay, however you've got it. And we're just going to reach the arms, take your time getting there, but reach your arms up toward the ceiling when you get there, like you're trying to touch your fingertips toward the ceiling. Inhale and exhale. Make sure your neck is supported. Good. And now I'm just going to cross my right arm on top of my left, and so my hands are wrapping around the outer shoulders. You can let your elbows relax down toward your chest or toward your sternum, toward your belly. Good. And then making sure your neck feels okay. I'm just inhaling, breathing into the space between my shoulder blades. And exhale. And again. Good. Now inhale. Let's open the arms out to the sides if that feels okay on your shoulders and upper back. Good. That's it. Inhale and exhale there. And now let's exhale and cross the left arm on top of the right, giving yourself a hug. Breathing into the space between your shoulder blades. Good. Now inhale, opening up the arms. And as you exhale, let's cross right on top of left. And some of you, instead of hugging, might want to try eagle arms. So the right elbow hooks on the inside of the left elbow, and then your hands might touch or you might reach. But I'm just going to relax my wrists down toward my forehead. Some of you might find that this doesn't work for you at all, and so you stay with the hug instead. Okay? Inhale, breathing into the space between the shoulder blades. And exhale. And again. Good. And then inhale, open up. And we'll just do the other side as you exhale. Left on top of right, either for a hug or Garudasana or eagle arms. Letting the hands relax, letting the elbows relax. Breathing into the space between your shoulder blades. Then let's inhale, open up again. And exhale, let's do a couple things. We're going to roll onto our side first. And we're going to take your bolster and turn it so that it's now across your mat. So go the opposite way with it. Okay? And then take your other blanket, if you got one, and just kind of make a soft layer in front of it on the floor. Okay, so I'm going to have my hip on that. It doesn't matter which side you do first. I'm going to use a block for my head, but you could use, and I'm going to use a block for an arm in a minute. Okay, so I got my 2 blocks, but you could also use a pillow for your head. You could use a piece of furniture for the other block. Okay, I'll show you what we're going to do. So I've got my hip on the floor, on the lower blanket. Okay, and my side ribs are going to come onto the bolster. And I'll lie down on my side again. And you'll see I'm just using my block as a pillow so that there's no pressure in my neck and shoulder that are on the bottom there. And then my legs stack up like so. Now I'm going to take my top arm and I'm going to reach it kind of in front of my ear, but overhead. And I'm just reaching it to that other block, but you could reach it to the floor. It's more relaxing to rest it on something for me. This gives it a landing spot. You could also reach it on a different angle. And if it hurts your shoulder, of course, you can put your arm wherever you want. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to change my legs. I'm going to take the top leg and I'm going to straighten it out toward the end of my mat. And then maybe even take it a little bit behind. Not off of my mat, but just toward that bottom corner. Okay, and then I'm going to straighten my front leg out a little or a lot. It can be on any angle. I might extend it forward. And then I'm going to try to roll. And you can always look at me if you're not sure. It's hard to follow. Maybe I should have shown you the visual first. But I'm going to roll this top hip forward. So see that? It might roll back like this. I'm going to take that top hip and angle it forward. Okay. And then you can take that arm back up. So for me, I get a stretch through the hip flexors here. Okay. Now, it's not a huge stretch, but I'm pretty tight in here, so I do feel some sensations here on the top of this hip up here, especially when I extend my arm. But you don't want it to be intense. So that bottom leg, the top leg, the one that's straightening out to the bottom of the mat, I'm trying to straighten that leg. The top leg, it's okay if it's got a soft knee, but the top leg, there's a little activity to get that hip. And if you feel like you need to adjust your props at any time, go for it. We're going to take several breaths here. And can you feel on your inhale some expansion in that upper side body? And as you exhale, can you soften through your jaw or through your face? It's almost like a warrior one side bend on the floor. Let's do a couple more breaths here. Okay, now let's bend the knees back to their stacked position. And you can either keep your upper arm where it is, or you can bring it down to another position. Just take a couple breaths there. Good. And now you can turn around or roll over to the other side, or you can press yourself up first. I'm going to flip to the other side of my mat. So you've got your opposite hip now on that blanket that's on the floor, and then you've got your bolster and your 2 blocks if you got them, or something else for your head, so that the hip goes in front of the bolster. Your side ribs go onto the bolster, and then your head on something so your neck feels at ease. Knees come out stacked. Upper block can reach whenever you're ready. Just taking your time getting set up. Taking a couple of breaths. And then as you're ready, you could take that top leg and straighten it out toward the bottom edge of the mat or away from your head. And you might even take it behind you a little bit. And then the top leg can straighten out diagonally in front a little or a lot. And remember this piece, that top hip is going to want to roll back. So you're rolling that top hip forward, which might mean you move the top leg a little more forward too. Good. And so you're getting this stretch. The idea is to feel some lengthening happening all the way on that top side of your body, from your upper leg, foot, heel, all the way out to that upper fingertips. And then using your breath as a means to help you soften into it. If you can feel that upper side body expanding. Couple more breaths. And then coming back to the stacked knee position. For a couple breaths, your top arm could stay where it is, or you could bring it to another place. Good. And now let's slowly press ourselves up. And you could sit with your legs out in front. And it might feel good to actually sit up on that bolster you've made or another folded blanket. I'm going to get an object. So you could use a block or anything else you've got. Okay, legs are just out in front, and we'll start. You could always put your back against something for this, like a wall or a couch or a piece of furniture. I'm going to start with just the ankles. Inhale, pulling the toes toward the shins. Exhale, point. Inhale, pulling back. Exhale, point. And if you want, you can look at your ankles and your knees just to notice how each ankle moves. Good. And now let's circle the ankles. So this is when the knees come into play. I'm going to try to keep my knees still and just circle the ankles. Notice how that feels. Keep breathing. And now let's circle the opposite way. Good. Okay. Now you're going to get your hands onto your thighs above the knees and try to tighten your right thigh. And I've just got my hand squeezing so I can feel the muscle tightening and relax. And then tighten the left thigh. and relax. I'll go into side to side. Just noticing if you can get those muscles to turn on, okay? So these muscles, your quadriceps, right? There's 4 of them there. They straighten the leg, right? They help the leg straighten all the way. And one of those is also a hip flexor muscle. There's other hip flexors too, but one of your quadriceps is a hip flexor. So now when you're here, you're using quads to be here. But if we're going to try to lift the leg from here, we'd use our hip flexors. So we're going to see if that's going to work on our legs, okay? So I'm going to widen the feet a little bit and put an object there. You don't have to have an object. It just helps you to have a goal sometimes with movement. You can use your hands down if you'd like. We're going to try to sit up really tall. So if you need something behind your back, you can. Okay, so you got support through your middle. Going to inhale up tall and exhale. Start with something low. Could you try to lift that leg up and over? And just notice if you're getting any pain in there when you do this. And I'm particularly interested in you, Janet, if you're feeling pain on when you get to the side that's aggravating you, right? Just let me know what you feel, right? Because this is using that hip flexor muscle. And most people find this pretty challenging to do. Like, it's hard to do this for most people. You're also trying to keep your center organized. So I'm not, getting into this as I do it, rounding. I'm trying to stay upright if possible, which is hard if you're tight in your legs, right? So you don't have to be perfect with it. You could also lean against something. Okay, so just notice, I'm noticing mine are tired. You can try to go taller too, okay? If you're noticing that it's hard, or easy, you might try something taller. Okay, and then wiggle that side out. You can always give yourself a little massage. And then let's do the second side. So let's just check in with the other one, okay? Start off low. First, just try to tighten that thigh. So you're getting that. And then exhale, see if you can lift and move it, right? Soften your jaw. You can try to go taller too. One more. Good. All right. Just kind of shake them out a little bit here. Good. And now let's come onto our hands and knees. We're going to do some cats and cows and shoulder rolls. If you need to do that seated in a chair instead, then go for it. Otherwise, I'm getting my wrists or my elbows below my knees. And I'm just going to start with some cats and cows. Exhaling as you round. Inhale, rolling out. Good. Now let's come out to a neutral position. So just a tabletop position. And I'm going to press down through the right hand and inhale to lift the left arm up. So I twist to the left and then exhale. I'm going to try to thread that left arm underneath, reaching it under, bending the right elbow. The shoulder might come down and then come back up. Okay, we'll do 3 and then we'll hold it. So inhale, reach back up, and exhale, thread. Now this third time, if you want to stay there, you could. So see if that feels okay to you. For me, I've got my blanket below my shoulder. I'm going to arrange so I'm there more. Some people might need something below their head. Let me turn around. Okay. I tuck my chin a little bit so my neck, it feels better on my neck that way. And you just see how this feels to you. You want to press strongly into the right hand and open up the upper back, or does it feel better to relax through there? And as you breathe, can you feel your ribs expand? Good. Now let's slowly push down through the right hand and come back up to hands and knees. Okay. Inhale, cat and cow one time. And exhale. And now let's do the other side. So we'll press down through the left hand, reaching the right arm up and thread it through 3 times. And just notice how the side feels. And then the third time, if it feels okay to stay down there, you could stay threaded through. Get any props that might feel better below your shoulder or neck or head. You can tuck the chin in. And just find the best spot for your left hand. Like, do you want to push into it and really open up? Or do you want to relax it? Relax face, relax jaw, breathe. Good. Now slowly pressing down through that left hand, let's come up. And we're going to be back on hands and knees. Now, what I'm going to try to do is just roll my shoulder blades. So you see what I'm doing here? So it's kind of like retract, protract, but you're doing all the motions. And if you can't do it, it's like this. So if you sit first and just roll your shoulders, I'm doing the same thing, but I'm on my hands and knees, okay? I'm trying to move those guys around. If it feels better for you to do it slowly seated instead of in this position, give it a try, okay? And then you'll try to go in the opposite direction as well. Good. And then let's come onto our feet. And walk yourself back. Roll yourself up. Good. And just come up to standing whenever you're ready. Take your time. We're going to do a little bit of the same thing here. Okay. So we'll inhale, roll the shoulders up. And exhale, take them down or back. And I'm just going a little bit slower than I was before. So inhale up, exhale down the back. Inhale up, exhale down the back. Good. And now I'm going to go backwards. So the opposite direction. I'll go back first, up and forward. Back first, up and forward. Good. Good. And just kind of shake it out a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to get into a little bit with the connection between neck, shoulder, arm, wrist, hand, okay? And I'm just going to get close. You can do this standing or seated. So the first thing I'm going to do is just work with the shoulder. So I'm going to turn, I'm doing my right arm, might look opposite to you, but I'm turning the right shoulder inward. And as I do that, so you see I just went like this, I'm making this little wrist flexion. See how I'm calling that like a little bird beak, okay? And then I'm going to roll my shoulder back and down, and I'm going to extend my wrist and spread my fingers, okay? So I like to exhale here, just connecting the breath to the movement helps me to focus. And I'm going to inhale here. Okay. Now you could keep this about the wrist and shoulder, or you could also add in some neck. I just do that slowly because this gets into a little bit of nerve gliding as well. So what I like to do is take my head to the opposite side gently, All right, so I'm just kind of leaning my opposite ear down. But sometimes I let it move. You know what I'm saying? So I don't keep it stuck there. I kind of feel into, where do I want it to go? What feels good? You guys feel like you're getting it here? Getting that movement through your shoulder and feeling it through your neck. Going gently. Good. Okay. Now let's just shake out that side and stand for a moment with both arms hanging. Okay. And just notice how the two arms feel, your hands, your wrists. Can you extend upward through the top of your head? And notice how the two sides of your body feel as well. Okay, following the breath in and out. Okay, now let's do the same thing the other arm. So I'm just exhaling, rolling the upper arm bone in, and then inhale out, and I'm working with the wrist at the same time. I'm just doing like 5 to 10 of these. And then you can add in your neck as well. You just use your own gentle exploration to see, what's going on in there. Keep breathing. And sometimes I just want to hang out in one of the spots. For me, this is just like a huge opening, all the way from my neck to my wrist. Yeah. Good. And then when you're ready, let's come back to the center. Just let the arms hang, kind of shake them out here. Okay. Good. Now, I'm going to you might need your chair for balance support on your side. I'm going to move my blanket off of my mat, coming into warrior one pose. So if you know that you want something on your side, just put it or put it next to you. Or get to a wall or a piece of furniture. Okay, let's take right leg forward, left leg back. It's like you're on, I've got really baggy pants on today, but hopefully you can see. It's like you're on 2 skis or 2 tracks. Okay, so my feet are separate. They're not on a tightrope. Okay, right leg forward, left leg back. Front knee is going to bend. You can bend it a little or a lot. Okay, and now, kind of like we did on the floor, except the front knee is bent, I'm going to reach my left arm up toward the ceiling, okay? And then I'm going to reach it over to the side. When I reach it to the side, I am not going way back here by my ear, but it's a little bit by my cheek, by my temple. Yeah, just let the other arm do whatever it wants, relax. And I'm pressing down through my back outer foot. You can also get in here by bending the back knee if you want to, a little bit deeper, and letting the neck relax. You could also straighten your front leg if that feels better to you. Let's do one more breath. Good, and then inhale up. Exhale, bringing the arm down and stepping forward. Okay, noticing the two sides. Inhale, stand tall. And exhale, let's do Virabhadrasana 1 or Warrior 1 on the other side. Okay, so front knee traditionally would be bent, but you could have it straight too. Back heel is down. You can turn it out, the foot, if you want. Then inhale, reaching that right arm up, or the back leg arm up, and then stretching it over to the side. So just getting long on the side body here. Do what you want with that bottom arm. Do what you want with your neck. Feel like you're breathing right into these side ribs. Good. Now let's use an exhale to come up. Bring the arm down and step forward. Good. Kind of wiggle around a little bit, or you can swing and twist. Now for this next one, you might really want a wall or a chair next to you. I'm going to show it with the wall just because it's right here for me, okay? And it's going to do something a little bit similar. So I'm going to take my inside leg forward. So have something to hold on to, okay? And that side, that leg's forward, the other leg's back, but instead of warrior one, this time I've got my heel lifted, okay? So I'm going to bend the knee, bend both knees, right? So it's a crescent lunge, okay? I'm going to try to tuck the tail forward, boom, like this. Okay, so now we're going to get more into that hip flexor area, okay? Tuck the tail forward. I'm going to inhale, reach that arm up, that outer arm. And exhale, a little lean to the side. Then inhale, back up to the center. And exhale, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to explode and bring that back leg forward and up. And then I'm going to step it back, bend the back knee, tuck the tail, and exhale, lean to the side. And I'm going to inhale back up to the center and exhale, again, knee comes forward. Then step it back. Okay, we'll do a few of these. Inhale, arm up. Exhale, bend back knee, lean to the side. Inhale up. Exhale. Good, let's do two more. So you bend the back knee, tuck the tail. Then you lean, so you get that hip flexor stretch perhaps, and then we come up, and now you're gonna use your hip flexor. You're gonna power move, bring it up. Last one here. Good, all right, and then just release, stand, you can turn around to the other side, or whatever you need to do. I guess I need to put the chair out for this one. All right, so same thing here. I'm going to show it from the side. Inside leg forward, outside leg back. We're bending the knee. We're tucking the tail forward. So right away I feel a stretch in here. Okay, then I'm going to inhale, outer arm up. Exhale, a little lean toward the inner side. And then inhale back up to center. And exhale, power move. Bring that knee up. Okay, and then step back. Inhale, tuck tail, arm up. Exhale, lean. Inhale, back to center. And exhale, bring it forward and up. Okay, let's do three more. Inhale, arm up. Bend back knee, tuck tail. Exhale, lean. Inhale to center. Exhale, draw that knee up. Two more. You can go at your own pace here. Good, and then after your next one, just stand for a moment and notice. You might hula hoop the hips around or swing and twist. Yeah, you can always hold any of the positions too. Good, so I'm just trying to touch on a few of the areas for the people that are here live mentioned, right? So we've been working on some hip flexor stuff, both through restorative poses and through active poses. A little bit of neck, shoulders, upper back. And also we've been doing, I think we did some ankles, just a little bit though. I'm gonna do a little more of those. But now I'm gonna do some more with the upper back and shoulder area, and this will help with the neck too. And for this one, you need a wall. I know not everybody has a wall, and I didn't mention it in the beginning. It's easiest on the wall rather than the floor, okay? And what you're gonna do is, but you could go to the floor too, okay? It will just look a little different, it'll be a little harder. So I'm going to get my forearms on the wall, and my elbows are the same height as my shoulders to start. And I'm just pressing into them. So those of you that are with me often, you know, you might remember that this is protracting the shoulder blades. So it's like I'm pushing into the wall, pressing my elbows strongly into the wall. So my shoulder blades are spreading apart from one another, right? Rather than here, they're apart, okay? And then imagine you've got a $100 bill beneath each elbow, and you don't want it to fall. So you're really trying to keep it there. And can everybody make sure that your neck is not, that your shoulders aren't up by your neck? So they're here. In fact, let me show it a little closer, right? The shoulder blades are down your back. And now, can you draw your rib cage back? Or draw your sternum back so there's some rounding. So it looks like, instead of here, it's here. I'm drawing, it's like I'm moving my sternum toward my spine. And I'm still keeping that $100 bill, and I feel a lot of work happening in my shoulders, but I'm trying to relax around my neck. I've got my tail tucked a little bit to help this happen. It's almost like a forearm plank on the wall. And I'm breathing, breathing, breathing. Let's do 2 more breaths. And 1 more breath. Good, and now let's release, arms down, and let's just let the arms swing a little bit. So I'm just going back and forth with the arms, and then I'm gonna go 1 arm forward, 1 arm back. You can move them any way you want to move them. In fact, notice how they want to move, right? You might find that your arms and shoulders want to do something a little different, so feel free to do that. Good. So we don't have total time for this in the live thing right now, but I wanted to mention it for Terry, who had to leave. But right here, this plantar flexion, and you guys have done this with me so many times, this is the one I was going to suggest for her today, which is stretching the top of the foot like so, holding onto something. You can always move it, an ankle around. Okay, so Terry, when you're watching this on the recording, you could do that, and anybody can do that, right? It's great for you to stretch your feet, and I think it might help with the issue that you've got going on. For those of us here live, just in the interest of time, let's come down to the floor, okay? And you can use your chair to do that or not. We're gonna come down. I'm just gonna inhale to reach up, exhale to fold, because I like going this way, but you can get there however you want. I like to pause in a forward fold. And then I'm gonna have a seat on the floor with my legs out in front. Now, you might want your pillow, again, below your hips. But some people might also, we're going to be out here with legs straight. There's a few options. If you're fine sitting with your legs straight, no problem with your back or extra tightness in your legs, just do that. You could also put your blocks below your legs or a rolled up blanket. You could also slide your legs under your chair. And I'll tell you why. Because we're going to exhale and let your neck relax if it feels okay. So you'll see what I'm going to do is this forward fold, and it might feel better to have your forehead resting on a couch, a chair. You might need to put a blanket there if it's wooden or metal. Or you might not want anything there. You might just want to fold forward. If you're someone with really tight legs, you might find that you're up here and your knees need support, and then you're just going to relax your head and shoulders. So you're going to let your shoulders round. You're going to let your neck round in this. And I find that for me, and I'm not sure if it's true for you, so you'll have to explore, that for me, when I've got a lot of knots going on in my upper back, a lot of tension in my neck and upper back, sometimes staying in this kind of relaxed position and exploring different angles by gently moving my chin, and using a slow, relaxed breath will help some of that tension to soften up. I would even stay here if we had the time, and if you do and you're doing it on a recording, you could stay here for a few minutes, like 3 or 4 minutes. If it feels like you need support, like it's too much to just hang without your head on anything, use that chair or another piece of furniture so that your head has something to rest on. And then it becomes even more restorative. I'm going to let mine hang because I've got a bunch of knots going on. Now let's follow the breath in. So notice your breath coming in. And then follow it out, and you could breathe out through pursed lips or through your ujjayi breath or your nose. And feel for tuning in to what your body is telling you. What I mean by that is your body saying, oh, this is good, let's stay here and make some micro movements with the neck? Or is it telling you to back out a little bit or get more support or do something different? And feel for staying connected to your breath if you can. Good. And then whenever you're ready, just slowly coming out of your forward fold. Good. And then we'll come onto our backs. Now, if you know you want your pillows and bolsters, you can use them. It might feel good when you come onto your back to do one knee into your belly or both knees in. And then finding your way to a relaxation pose, Shavasana or something similar. Using any of the props you might want to use. And I'll just talk you in here for a moment and then let you rest on your own. when you get there, just taking a couple sighs. And practicing letting go of as much effort as you can. Noticing how your whole body feels, how your mind feels.